Good day, everyone. This is Novel Mayoriasga Castro, and I am from Group 4. So, our assigned topic is all about the American literature. So, in American literature, I'm under with the literary text. Before we proceed to our story, let us define first the literary text. So, literary text is a piece of writing, such as a book or poem, that has the purpose of telling a story or entertaining, as in a fictional novel. So it is a primary function as a text as usually static, but it may be also contain a political message or a belief. Okay, so story time. So in a dark brown dog summary, a street dog befriends a young boy, and the boy likes the dog but often beats him home. The dog follows him home, cowering and begging pardon. This happened on the way home. There is further fighting. When the family returns home, they debate whether or not to keep the dog. So, since everyone wants the dog to leave, the father lets it stay. The youngster must now protect the dog from the other family members who feel obligated to kick and beat it. Depending on his mood, the boy seeks out the dog for comfort or abuse. Despite this, the dog finds solace in the boy's stability, feeding, and love. Dad became drunk and rowdy one day. The boy notices and dives for shelter, but the dog doesn't. He kicks and abuses the dog with a coffee pot, and to protect the dog, the child rushes forward. He lifts the dog and throws it. The boy rushes to the dead dog and sits up for hours. And that's the end of the summary of the story. So let us now proceed to the plot. So, first, the exposition of the story was supposed to be taken as a metaphor. The dark brown dog was supposed to represent a newly freed slave that has beginning their new life. The family was supposed to reflect the typical attitude of white families during this time period and just they treated former slaves. And the next of the exposition is the rising action. So the rising action is family argues about keeping the dog. So they decided to keep the dog, but they mistreat the dog when the little boy is not with the dog. He is unable to protect him from being physically abused. And now let us proceed to climax. So it took place when the father came home drunk and abused the dog with a coffee pot and picked him up by one leg and swam him around. And now we are here in the falling action of the story. So the father was drunk when the child and the dog came home, and the child hid, but the dog mistook as it is a game. And finally, we are here in the resolution of the story and the ending of the story. So the father throws the dog out the window, and the child goes to the dog. Let us proceed to the genre of the story. So the genre is a symbolism fiction. So why can you say that the story A Dark Brown Dog is a symbolism fiction? Because symbolism takes something that is usually concrete and associates or affixes it to something else in order to give it a new and more significant meaning. So, in other words, symbolism allows a writer to convey something to their audiences in a poetic way instead of saying it outright. The story A Dark Brown Dog is a symbolism fiction because in the story it clearly stated that the father will mistreat the dog or torture the dog if ever the boy is not around. So it symbolizes the writer's message is to tell the people or the readers that animals have also feelings and life, and they are deserved to treat them well and to nurture them as well. And now let us proceed to the figures of speech, and the figure of speech is a metaphor. So he used metaphors such as the dog offered more prayers. So he showed the dog as a person who can offer prayers.